Hello everybody, in this video I have a mixed media art journal process to share with you with the Thompson's Craft Supplies design team. This is actually a project I did a few weeks back with my previous design team kit, which featured the Minte Harmony paper pack, so lots of delicious blues and florals and stuff. So this was filmed a few weeks ago, so if I forget anything that I did, I'm really sorry. I probably should have rewatched the video before starting to record, but oh well, too late now. I'll figure it out. So I started off, I put some wide masking tape down the spine or the centre of my little art journal, which is also from Thompson's Craft Supplies, just like a really small exercise book size one. I'm actually really enjoying working with this size, but I think I've only got like 2 pages left to do. Anyway, slight tangent there. Yeah, just reinforcing the spine and making sure colours don't like soak through and stuff. It's just a habit I tend to get into, whether it's necessary or not. I just covered everything with a layer of very cheap acrylic paint from Hobbycraft. It's just called pale blue or light blue or something like that. I think they've changed the branding of it now, so like if you go to look for it on Hobbycraft, the bottle might look different to my bottle. But I didn't bother with Jetto or anything just because I knew I was going to cover the whole thing with that blue acrylic. And then I am taking some Fabrica Decoru metallic paint, first in Golden Electric, just to add some depth around the edges, and I'm sort of stippling that on so it blends a little bit and adding a little bit more of that pale blue again, just so it blends together, looks a bit more natural when you haven't got any really harsh lines between the two different shades of blue. And then once I've done all my darker areas, I'm going to go with also Fabrica Decoru. It's the Chameleon metallic paint, sorry. This one is in Moonstone, which as you can see is a much lighter colour. It actually has a slight hint of a purpley pink if you catch it in some lights, but I'm just using that to highlight some areas. So I've got like the darker areas and then some highlighted areas as well. Then when my background of acrylic paint is all dry, I am going to take some AB Studio, it's called something flowers, I think, it's rice paper, vintage flowers, there we go, and just tear out a couple of those to use. I prefer, I've said this many times before, with tissue paper, decoupage paper, rice paper, where possible I prefer to tear the things that I'm going to put in projects, just because you get so much more of a natural and softer finish on your project. I mean, there are like times when a fussy cut line kind of works, but generally speaking a torn line works a little bit better. And sometimes if it's too fiddly to tear, I will fussy cut it and then sort of distress up the edges to make them look like they're torn. I think there was a bit there I was having real trouble in ripping. You can see on that piece on the right, and there's a straight edge, so I was like, well, we'll just put that at the edge of the page and I don't have to worry about that straight line. I did a mix of PVA glue and water to decoupage that on, but it actually, I don't think I either didn't add enough PVA glue or added too much water. I can't remember, because as I said, this was weeks ago, but I think I went back and either used some matte gel medium or gloss gel medium or something later on just to make sure they were really stuck on there, because as I said, that my PVA glue mix was just too runny and wet. I just had, yeah, not enough glue. So here I've taken the cut apart sheet, 3x4 cut aparts from that Minte paper pack Harmony. Forgot it for a second there. Oh, there's me going back and just reinforcing my decoupage rice paper with just a little bit of gel medium, because as I said, I wasn't started to peel up, I think, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I brought out some of those cut aparts. I really wanted to work with a couple of them have like hands holding, and that's what I really wanted to work with this whole thing. But I thought before I start fiddling with those, let's do some stenciling. So this stencil is from Prima. It's from one of those sets that have a stencil and flowers in, and instead of just using one thing to stencil, I thought I'd make it look really sort of messy, shabby chicy kind of thing by using, I got a mix of Prima paper paste and then embellishment mousse in Old Navy and in powder blue. So yeah, you just get that stenciling with loads of different colours and stuff going on, and I really like the effect of that. I am putting my stencil down just using some not very sticky, cheap washi just to sort of keep it in place, because having to go back and forth between colours, the stencil moved around a little bit on the first try, so that's why I'm sticking it down with a little bit of washi. And yeah, as I said, I really like this effect of having the 3 different colours and two different kind of mediums kind of blend and work together. I just think it looks really nice and a bit more natural isn't quite the right word, but just more interesting. That'll do. Then with that stenciling nice and dry, I brought back those 3x4 cards. At one point I think I was going to use both, like have a hand holding thing on both pages, but then I thought it will just look better if I stick with one. I am tearing around the image there again. I just prefer a torn edge on projects like this. It's just so much softer, I think. It just works a little bit better like that. But then that on its own was really, really floaty and just looked weird. So I cut another 3x4 card to give it a little bit of a base, but also ripped the edges of that again, so it kind of matched and looked soft and everything. And then that was too floaty, and then I added, surprise, another 3x4 card. So I used quite a lot on this page. I think I'm going to use 2 more as well on the other side. So that one I wanted to keep that pink frame, and ripping it I couldn't quite do it properly, so I did that thing I mentioned before where I fussy cut it and then used my distress tool to make it look like I've ripped it. And then I also cut out this blue door to put on my other page or the other side of the spread. I really like that blue door. It's something about it that just really, really appeals to me, but that looked a bit funny on its own. So I fussy cut this little floral cluster from another 3x4 card and distressed the edges of that again to make it look like it's been torn, and I'm going to put that on top of the door. I think the door works well because I've got the wall stenciling in the background, kind of like a small buildingy house theme or something going on. Around all those individual pieces, I'm going to go around the edges with Distress Oxide in Chipped Sapphire. It was a really great tone to use against that blue background because it's quite a navy-ish blue, so it contrasted nicely against that lighter blue, like sort of classic blue background. And then I'm just layering those pieces up as my focal points and sticking those down, of course, with my favourite 3D gloss gel. And next up, I'm trying to remember what I did because I know this is definitely not quite near the end. Oh yeah, I decided that there wasn't enough stuff going on in the background, at least for my taste anyway. So I added a little bit of stamping with some of the Kaiser Crafts texture stamps. There's this one with the butterfly, and then I'm pretty sure I go in with another using StazOn Stone Grey, as I so often do, just because it works so much better than black on many, many projects. Like, it's not as in your face. Oh, using the text stamp as well. Now, usually I would do this before I start sticking any focal points or anything down, but as I said, I hadn't thought of it at that point. But then when I stuck those pieces down, it just did something extra was needed. So I'm just doing really loose, casual stamping, not using a stamping block or anything. So it goes over all the texture and stuff, and also it's a bit more patchy, just looks a bit more natural and works better. Wanted a couple of words, of course. So we've got hope and strength. Those are from the Plump Planner, actually, on Etsy, like they're planner stickers. But I wanted something large, and I couldn't find the right ones in the Tim Holtz Big Chat stickers, and I've had those Plump Planner ones for many, many years, so I went with those. And then I have these random stickers. They were just, I don't know what, I think they got given to me or something, and it said making history. Now, I've said before, this little mini art journal I'm kind of doing it during lockdown, so there's like a slight little hint about current events and stuff. Like, it's not in your face about current events and what's going on, but just like little bitty hints here and there. So that's why I've got the making history sticker, and also like together, strength and hope, kind of positive things about some positive things that have happened, about, you know, communities supporting each other and things like that. Anyway, finishing off with splatters, as per usual, I use Fabrica Decoru. It is the, I have forgotten, bear with, chalk spray, there we go, in blue, and then some Distress spray stain in Picket Fence for a couple of white splatters. I dropped some of that on, like in droplets as well, in certain areas where I wanted really big splatters, but they weren't really working out of that particular nozzle, so I just, you know, faked it. And there we go, it is complete. So thank you so much for watching, as always. I really like this one, actually, maybe just because it's blue, and I love anything that's blue, and I love the florals and the stencil with the wall texture and everything. I don't know, big fan of this one. Links as always in the description box below. Most things used as are from Thompson's Craft Supplies obviously, and other stuff I will link as well where you can get a hold of it and stuff. And yep, that's about it from me. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me in the comments. Let me know if you're making any projects that are related to the current events but may not be so obvious that they're related to said events. I'd love to know. Anyway, yeah, that's it. I am finished. I am going. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.